seconds. Goes to the corner to shoot it.
Giannis.
He's licking his chops. He fell down.
Hello, and welcome to the newest episode of The Debate Mates. I'm your co-host, Matthew Swanberg, and I'm here with my other co-host, Nathan Poplin. Papa Poplin.
You already know, bro.
Alright, so today Jack is not going to be with us, and that's going to become a reoccurring thing, as Jack has decided until at least school stops, until the school year stops, that he's not going to be doing videos with us. Maybe he'll come back every once in a while during the summer to cover free agency or the end of the finals.
It's perfectly okay because the fans love me better. Hey, it was good.
So get used to the two of us, and we have some pretty exciting news. We're going to have some guests coming along soon, some coaches at Nathan's high school, Medfield High,
Go Metro.
and some AAU
Class of
coaches,
2019. Woo.
and just some basketball aficionados coming around just to try to give our channel more credibility and more views, because that's all we care about.
That is all I care about.
Sacrifice content for views.
Success. That's right.
Money. All right, so anyways, let's get into the topics because we have a lot to talk about. And we introduced this game to you last time. It's called What Are the Odds? But since Jack will not be here to pay them off, we're going to be resetting. And I lost the paper, so I didn't know what the odds were. So this time I'm going to keep the paper. We're going to keep the odds. We're going to keep it till the end of the year. And then you guys know the payoff. Put them in the comments. Put them in the DMs at the Debate Mates. Whatever you want to do. Just so we know what to make Nathan do. Because we all know I'm the real basketball nerd here. So
You're mistaken, but okay.
the first question for What Are the Odds? This is a kind of crazy one. What are the odds, and we're both going to answer this, discuss the odds. What are the odds that LeBron James, arguably the GOAT, at least the GOAT of our era, does not make an All-NBA team this year?
And that's a really difficult question. Do I think he deserves it? No. Do I think he will make it? Yes, because...
But did I ask you what the odds were? Yes.
What are the odds? Okay. The odds that he does not make the All-Star team.
All-NBA.
It's All-NBA team. Whatever. Can you shut up? Dog, I ain't done this. I think there is I'm going to give him 40% chance.
To not make it?
Yes, to not make it.
I'm going to give him... I'll give him a 55% chance to not make it.
Okay.
No, I'm going to give him 35.
35. Oh, see.
A little
See
bit.
how he just changes his answers on the fly like that?
That's a little bit of a change there, but it's not that bad.
Quite,
So
20% is quite a bit.
I'll let you argue first why you don't think he should make it, or why you think he has a higher chance to make it.
It's because of the numbers. What is he averaging? He's averaging 27 points per game, 8 assists, 9 reads. I mean, that's still pretty damn. I mean, he's only played 55 games, but I mean that's still pretty damn impressive. That's still all-star level numbers.
Yeah.
So like, I think I don't want him to make it. I think there have been better players this year, but I think he will make it.
All right,
what do you think?
We compiled a list of players that, definitely deserve to make it above him, and then players that you could argue could make it above him. The definites, we have Giannis, KD, Kawhi, and Paul George. That's 4, and that already fills out the first and second All-NBA team, which automatically puts him down to third team, and I don't think anyone has him going any higher than that.
No, personally, no. I don't think.
Below that, these are like the maybes. We have Blake Griffin, who's played 72 games and is averaging 25, 6, and 8 with a 6th seeded Pistons in the Eastern Conference. Tobias Harris, 77 games, 28 and 3. And he's almost shooting 50-40-90, and his team is third in the Eastern Conference on the Sixers. And then we have the kind of underappreciated maybe, or maybe we're overappreciating him by putting him on the list, LaMarcus Aldridge, who's played 75 games, 21, 3, and 9 on the 7th seed Spurs. Made the All-Star game.
I'm surprised that I've made the playoffs, but as long as you have Greg Popovich, I think anything is possible.
All right, so out of those, so we have the 4 that we definitely think will make it above him.
Yeah, there's no way he's not played better than Giannis, KD, Kawhi, or Paul George this year. There's no way.
So we both say that he has a higher chance to make it than not make it. So out of the 3 players that we put, one of them would make it then. So what 2 do you think would not make it in order for LeBron to make it?
Personally, it's going to be the last 2. So Blake Griffin, if he doesn't make it, I will be upset because he's been playing. He's averaging some of the best numbers. I think this is his best year of his career by far, and he's basically carried that. Him and Drummond have carried that freaking Pistons team to a 6th seed. So he definitely makes it. Tobias Harris has never been appreciated. He didn't even make the All-Star team this year, which was really upsetting because he's been averaging the best number. He just continues to get better and better. LaMarcus Aldridge. He did make an All-Star team, but he's also, I don't see him making it over LeBron, and I don't see Tobias making it over LeBron. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And one player we didn't even put on the list is Anthony Davis.
This year's kind of been a
I don't think he makes an All-Star.
I don't think he makes an All-Star team only because this year's been so weird with the whole trade rumors and trading and sitting and all that. So I think he is better than LeBron. At this point I think he's better than LeBron. I just don't think he makes an All-NBA team.
One thing that really stands out for me is games played. Because if you look at the MVP conversation, okay, and I'm not saying with the players we have, but if it's LeBron or a guy that's played 55 games versus a guy that's played 75 games, you no doubt give it to the guy that's played more games because more sample, more opportunity to have bad games or to bring the stats up. So why is it different for this? Because LeBron has played basically half of the games this year and is sitting out for the next 6 games of the year, so he's going to top out at 55. So why is it different for this conversation than an MVP conversation where games matter?
There really is no difference, honestly. I agree. I think 55 games played. I mean, LeBron's never. I think he's had one 82-game thing in the season, and he also had that groin injury, but that's still no excuse. LeBron, I think, had his work cut out for him this year. I think he realized the Western Conference is a lot difficult, and he doesn't have much weapons. But honestly, I don't think I don't want him to make an All-NBA team. I don't think he deserves to make an All-NBA team. Do you?
No, I don't think he does. And what? So I'm gonna rant for a second. Okay,
Go for
Nathan?
it. Go for it. I got my spray.
LeBron James is literally the biggest chicken in the NBA. All right.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Sorry. So why do I say this? Because he's sitting out the last 6 games of the season. Okay. And all the
Are you just salty because you're going to see him play? And
I
he's
was
not
going
gonna...
to see the Lakers and the Warriors on this Thursday. LeBron's not playing, so that means Kevin Durant and Steph might rest, and others. And it's not cool, not just for me, but for the millions of fans that were going to watch it at home. Not just for that game, but the 5 other games he's going to miss.
I mean,
That's the
you would think
game.
he'd be like, all right, I might as well play these last games because I'm, for the first time since, how many years? 2003? I believe he's not going to be in the playoffs. And so you'd think he would
And he's like, oh, I'm not going to cheat the game. You're sitting out for the last 6 games of the season for your groin injury. If you have a groin injury and it was that serious that you need to miss the last 6 games of the season, then we should not even be talking about you as an NBA all-team or an all-third-team NBA guy. So obviously it's not that. Obviously he just wants an excuse. And it just makes me really mad because everyone in the comments is like, oh, Jordan would never do that and Kobe would never do that. And I kind of get upset because it's like, okay, just stop bringing that up. But it's true.
It's honestly, it hurts the fans. It's upsetting the fans because, like, they come to see a specific player. I don't care if it's the 82nd game of the regular season, you need to be playing, especially if you're as high caliber a player as LeBron James. Like, I get you want to rest him, but, like, to me, that just seems unfair to the fans. It's like we come to see people like Giannis and LeBron and KD and Kawhi and Paul George, and when they sit out, I don't know. It takes away from the experience. It's almost like the experience is nowhere near as good because I'd rather see a great player play. I want to see great players play 82 games if they can, and all the games of the postseason if they can.
Right.
And you're right. Jordan and Kobe would never sit out a game, even if they were like 20 games ahead of everybody. They wouldn't sit out a game. They'd play every single game as long as they could.
Yeah, the guys like Giannis who rolled his ankle. We'll get to that a little bit later. Sat out for a little bit in a game, and they're playing the Hawks next game, which is easy competition, even though they lost that game, which would normally be easy competition, and Giannis still said, no, I want to play.
Yeah, so.
And it's not like, oh, I'm in the MVP conversation, so I have to play. He wants to play because he loves basketball, and I question that with LeBron. First with the move to LA, because I think that was mostly other than NBA driven. We see him partying with 2 Chainz before the Warriors and the Lakers play a while ago. So I think that move, first of all, made me mad because...
Honestly, I think it just determines he loves the money more than the basketball at this point. But certain players, like if let's say I'm a star player, I love the game of basketball. I think you do too. I'm pulling into another sport. I'm pulling a Tom Brady. Do you know why Tom Brady is so great? Do you want to know why? Not just because it's because the man. You see Aaron Rodgers getting paid $135 million a year. Tom Brady makes 12. Because he knows that he wants to win and he loves the sport, so he takes smaller contracts so you spread the money around and gain talent. Like, why did LeBron take a $164 million
4 years,
and then he complains about not having enough around him? Well, all their money's going to you. Like, you need to put some shooters around LeBron. I think that's very obvious of this season. He had no shooters, like straight up closing game shooters.
You know, it's kind of harsh for people to say, oh, look, it's LeBron's fault because he ruined the Lakers. I think it's Magic's fault, to be honest, because He traded away guys like D'Angelo Russell, Julius Randle. He cut Thomas Bryant, who's having a solid year for Washington. And you can't always predict that these things will happen with players that are young.
Yeah, imagine how if they still had D'Lo and Julius Randle.
And it's not
right
even
now.
that. Like, okay, you make mistakes in a trade. It's fine. But, like, look at Brooklyn. They made mistakes with the trade a couple years ago, and they fought back. They've just played the right way.
And now they're
still tried to
team.
compete, but tanked at the same time, and made good trades, good moves. And now they're a great team. The Lakers got LeBron, and they were a really good team before he got injured on Christmas Day with the groin injury. And then they all of a sudden went into panic mode. And LeBron decided that he didn't like any of his teammates and wanted to trade them off for Anthony Davis. And then the Pelicans never even really wanted to trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers. They just wanted to mess up the Lakers because they leaked all this information. So, about the trade. So, like, I feel
because
like
that messes with your players' minds. That messes with the young core's minds. Like, oh, am I going to be traded? It puts us, like, sort of paranoia. And then when they didn't get traded, it put the Lakers in such a predicament that it's like,
that they had to trade guys like Iviak Zubac, who's actually really good.
Ivica, isn't it like Ivica Zubac? Yeah.
They ended up trading good players for worse players because they just felt like they had to make a move. And it just makes me so mad about that. Because, I mean, he could have changed what happened. He could have still been playing right now. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, it's LeBron's fault that he hurt his groin. Like, I can't say that.
Yeah.
But I can say that if he had come back, if he had not tried to make a big deal of the trades, one thing we both agreed on in the preseason episode, we were saying LeBron signing with the Lakers, we said, one thing that's underappreciated about LeBron is he brings a leadership value to the team he plays for. He didn't do that at all this year. He ruined the chemistry of a young team, and now guys like Kuzma, guys like Ball, guys like
See, not even
Ingram,
necessarily that. Like, I said this in an earlier video, too. One reason I didn't think the Lakers experiment was going to work is not necessarily LeBron. I mean, we've seen a lack of leadership that I'm pretty disappointed in. I thought he would be a bit better. But you're bringing in guys, like, think about the guys they brought in this offseason. Lance Stevenson, Rajon Rondo, Michael Beasley. What do those three players have in common? You know how incredibly hard it is to coach them and their big egos? Like, it's you're putting too many like big egos and big personalities into one space, and then you have a horrible coach. I think Luke Walton is a horrible coach. He was a horrible player. He's a very bad coach.
I have to disagree with you on that. I think Luke Walton didn't get a fair chance.
I think he did, honestly. I just think he's not as good.
But Magic Johnson surrounded him with a roster where he couldn't do anything. But here's what makes me think he has a chance. When everyone was healthy, everyone was playing the right way, LeBron wasn't trying to trade everyone. They were a top 4 team in the West.
They were solid, yeah.
So
I still think he's gone after this season, though. And there's talks of either bringing in Jason Kidd or who was the other person there? The Doc Rivers one. That's just a rumor. That was never going to happen. Why would he leave his cozy little spot in the Clippers?
I don't know. So
the Jason Kidd one's interesting, though.
We could talk about and complain about LeBron and the Lakers for days on days on days, but we gotta move forward a little bit and just know, LeBron, if you ever watch this, which you never will, we both hate you.
I don't hate him. I have a strong disliking for LeBron because LeBron's a wuss. Yeah, you can quote me on that. LeBron's a wuss. Now I really hope he never sees this video.
I don't know. You should probably make a Hollywood production off of it.
Go for it. I could use the money.
Oh, yeah. So, now on to the next topic, which is a little bit more disappointing, but not in the make me mad way. The Blazers lost Yusuf Nurkic.
That was a horrible loss.
For a season-ending injury. So, with him being out, and CJ McCollum, who just missed the 5-game road trip, I'm going to leave it to you. What are the odds that the Blazers minus Nurkic and maybe a 50% McCollum get bounced in the first round to a team like who do we have them playing as the playoffs stand here?
Utah Jazz. So what are the chances that they get bounced first round? 100%. I think it's 100%. I'm sorry, Dame, but without McCollum and Nurkic, you have nobody.
Right, so since there's no way for me to beat you on this one, I'm going to go 99 because 100 is my instinct. I'm not going to put it at the same thing.
I think there's a very slim chance. I mean, I thought they had a better chance last year. Like, remember when they got swept by Anthony Davis and the Pelicans, man.
To be honest, I never really saw the Blazers as a legitimate contender this year.
Nah, they need to, first of all, Blazers, I love the organization, but horrible mismanagement of cap. You got people like Al-Farouq Aminu, Jake Layman, making like upwards of $20 to $30 million. Horrible way of handling contracts.
Evan Turner was a horrible signing.
Evan Turner, horrible signing. And there's not much you can do because you can't really trade. I don't know many organizations that are looking to take on those horrible contracts. So you can't really sign any new free agents. Like the Miami Heat have the exact same problem. Like, they just can't bring in any new pieces. They have to try to keep what they have. And they can't trade anything because you have such horrible contract. Who's taking on Evan Turner's contract? Can you think of any franchise in the league that's taking on that horrible contract for, a 30-something-year-old small forward who's, like, rated 74 in 2K, probably lower? He's horrible. So the Blazers, I don't think we're ever a major contender this year. I love Dame Lillard with a passion, but he cannot lead this team over the Utah Jazz. Oh, I love Dame. He's my favorite point guard in the league by far. He's my favorite point guard. Him and Kemba, I just love, and they're just both in horrible situations. Like, I don't know. Dame says he doesn't want to leave.
I appreciate your honesty.
What?
I
love Dame Lillard.
Right.
I'm sorry.
One thing that I think is, I think the signing of Enes Kanter was huge for them.
Yeah, that was a
but
great
what
sign.
messes it was good because he was coming off the bench. And we all know that Enes Kanter defense is optional with him. He's one of the worst defenders in the league.
Probably the worst defending big man. But his offense, he brings you up. He's kind of like somewhat better Greg Monroe.
But that's why he was better on the bench because as a starter, first round you're going up against the
He's
Jazz,
playing Rudy Gobert. His matchup is going to be Rudy Gobert.
He couldn't if they don't want him to defend him, Derek Favors. Neither of those matchups are favorable for him unless he's on offense.
Yeah, he's a pretty solid offensive player.
So what it was good is he was coming off the bench, so the best player he would have to defend for the Jazz is
oh crap! Who's the Jazz's backup center?
So the best player he would have to guard for whoever they would have played in the second round is like a Nene for the Houston Rockets or something like that.
Yeah.
Like no one that good.
Even then, I'm still taking Nene. I know he's old, but I like Nene's style of play a little bit better than Kanter.
Kanter, he could solidly defend a bench center.
Yeah.
And then he could score. But in the starting lineup, he's not going to be able to defend well against
an all-star like
starters.
Rudy Gobert.
But then other than him, you don't really have any. I mean, Zach Collins is a name that's been thrown around
Zach
a lot.
Collins, Jake
possibly
Layman,
being a
Myers
starter.
Leonard. No. Sorry. No, they're not. Al-Farouq Aminu. No. That team is going to get swept.
Right.
I'd honestly be surprised if they get a win.
Right. So so Nathan has professed his love for the Blazers, his love for Damian Lillard, but his hate for the Blazers. And I'm just
that organization needs to get its gears together. It needs to get its
gears together.
It needs to get its gears together. Yeah, you heard it here folks. I want y'all to quote me on that and just write that down.
He wants you to quote him on a lot of things. What are the odds that Nathan will ask you to quote something on the next question I ask? That's the biggest
100%.
odds. All right.
100%.
So next one, on to more playoffs matters. We have the Bucks. What are the odds of them winning the championship?
Y'all probably know this. I'm going to say again. I love Damian Lillard, but Giannis is my favorite player in the league. The chances of them actually winning the finals, I'll give them a good 65%. Right there.
What?
65%.
I'll give them a 0% chance.
Oh, you're going to give them a 0% chance of making the finals?
No, winning the finals.
Of winning the finals?
Wait, is it win or make?
I thought we were doing winning, or making, I mean. I
if it's making, yeah, because I don't think they're going to win. I think the Warriors are going to win. I think we both agree that the Warriors will win.
If the Warriors make it and they're healthy and they have all their players, yeah, the Warriors are going to win. But I also question that a little bit because it would still be a competitive series because the Bucks do have a much better bench unit. When you look at it, the Warriors' bench unit is kind of depleted. Their best, I mean, Iggy's always been their best bench player. That's the perfect six-man. But then you have people like Jonas Jerebko. I mean, Jordan Bell is solid.
Bogut was a big signing.
Andrew Bogut was a big signing for them.
Livingston,
He brings defense off your bench, and I like that about him.
So, since I misunderstood the question, I'm changing them to a 49% chance.
Okay, slightly less than 50.
Because I didn't want to do 50, because that's neither yes or no. And while I'm putting them at a 49% chance, they're the 1 seed, which puts them at facing the Pacers or the Celtics. More than likely, the Celtics in the second round.
Yeah, the Celtics will probably win that series only because of playoff experience.
Wait, over the Bucks or the Pacers?
Oh, the Bucks. I think both, honestly. The Celtics, both of those teams you just described are very young. And you have people like Brad Stevens, Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving, Marcus Smart. Most of these people, even Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, are battle-tested, playoff-ready players. So I know people are all like, you can't just turn it on in the playoffs. But the Celtics tend to just turn it on in the playoffs. They're never the best team in the regular season. but they have the best coaching and they have probably some of the best depth in the
Yeah,
league.
and I think the Celtics, one thing that they can give to the Bucks is they have a lot of good different things they could throw at him.
Yeah.
You got Al Horford, who could defend him well, I think. You've got guys like Semi Ojeleye coming off the bench, a kind of bigger guy that can.
It's a very
stick it up.
defensive-minded team.
Marcus Smart, maybe not
Yeah.
the biggest, even Marcus Morris, guys like that.
But each guy's contributing something. Marcus Smart is contributing hustle, and he's going to play defense, and he's going to give you his three-point shot's gotten so much better. All these guys, even Kyrie Irving, they've got to trying to defend somewhat. Of course, it's difficult if he faces someone in the playoffs like Ben Simmons to guard him. You know what I mean? But it's a very defensive-minded team. The offense this year, I think, is I don't think is as good as last
If
year.
they don't have
personally.
Malcolm Brogdon by the second round, I think the Celtics easily win.
He's out for the season.
No, he's out.
I thought he was out for the rest of the playoffs included.
No, just next
Okay, thank God. All right, that gives
yeah.
Bus a much better
If
advantage. Woo.
if he is out for the second round, then I think the Celtics easily win. And it's not like Brogdon's like the MVP, but he's much needed, and he's a great defender.
Mm-hmm.
And other than him, Bledsoe you could put on Kyrie, but then I think that kind of depletes his offensive skills because he's gonna have to work really hard on offense
Mm-hmm.
on Kyrie. So I think the Celtics match up really well with them. And if it's not the Celtics, then I think a team like Philadelphia could beat them. Honestly.
The Raptors, I think, could beat them.
Yeah.
The Raptors always best Giannis. But, still, all these, I think, would all be competitive series.
Yeah,
In the Eastern Conference, it's going to be competitive series.
And Milwaukee, if the 8th seed, I think they're gonna roll over whoever is 8th, whether it be your Heat or
It's
even the Nets or
Orlando, because Orlando's right there. If Miami gets bounced by Orlando, they definitely taking
I
down
think
Orlando.
Milwaukee. One thing that goes well for them is I think any of the first round series minus 1-8 could be 5-6 games.
Yeah.
Toronto and Brooklyn. Brooklyn definitely would not roll over.
They'll get at
They
least-
would definitely win at least one, in my opinion.
One or two. I
Yeah.
give them one or two.
And then Philadelphia versus Detroit. We have Andre Drummond, Joel Embiid rivalry. So Joel might step up.
Blake
but
Griffin, how he's been playing this season.
I think that would be a great series, big man versus big man. And I think Detroit, I'd give them a chance to win
one or two games, yeah.
And then Boston versus Indiana. I give Indiana.
If it's anything like the last 2 years, all Celtic series go to 7 games.
Yeah. So
Every series they were in last year
so
was
that
7
might be
games.
one. You could either say that would make the Bucks rusty in the second round, or you could argue on this side that would make any team they face either. Sorry. You could say that any team they face will be rusty, or not rusty, but tired.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could say that the Bucks will be rusty and any team they face will be playoff ready because they
go
just won
either way.
a hard series. Because
Depend. It's just something about Milwaukee and Philly in the playoffs. They just can never. Their shooters can never take off in the playoffs. They never show up in the playoffs. You ever noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
The shooters never
And-
show off. And I don't. If the Bucks really want to win, they need to play well. So I need people like Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe's more of a defensive guard, but
And one thing that I think stands out to me is I've noticed this a lot in March Madness, and it's a little bit different. But the teams that always make it far or do well, they have that one scare where they play that a team and it's a close game and they win it and they say, "Wow, teams really have a target out for us. We need to go and kick it into overdrive."
Duke.
Yeah.
Like
So,
UCF. Oh my god.
I think that could happen with a team like Boston or Philadelphia where they get scared by one of these first round teams, like we saw it with the Cavs. First round, they were battle tested against the Pacers, kind of didn't look back and won the series against the Raptors, and then the Celtics. Same thing with the Warriors, had the 7-game series versus the Rockets. Sorry. So I think that's a big thing. And Milwaukee, I don't think will be battle tested if they beat Miami or Orlando, because no
one's giving
aren't-
those teams a chance.
Yeah.
Those teams
So-
never had a chance to begin with.
So we're both giving the Bucks. You're giving the Bucks a higher chance to make it than I am.
Yeah, I think the Bucks. I believe in
Even
the
though we
Bucks.
just argued multiple
It
reasons.
doesn't.
why
It
they
doesn't.
won't.
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna put
You've
my
given
faith
up on
in.
the Celtics.
I need to see the Celtics. If the Celtics come out and ball out in the playoffs, and then I'm definitely. But I'm just saying they need to turn it up now.
Right.
Like
All right.
now.
So the final, what are the odds topic, and then we'll talk a little bit of playoff matchups before we let you go. We've got the Rookie of the Year battle, and Trae Young has kind of started to step it up since the All-Star break and make it a really close matchup when we thought Luka was running away with it. So here's your question. What are the odds that not Luka, but Trae Young wins Rookie of the Year?
0%.
All right, I'll go.
I'm sorry. Trae Young's been balling.
I'll go with 1% then.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Your price is writing me. Your price is writing me. Okay, look, hear me out. Luka is has been having one of the best rookie seasons I think to date. That man is a beast. I love Trae Young. Don't get me wrong, but I still think Luka makes a better argument what I saw in the first half of the season before All-Star break than Trae Young's made after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
You might disagree with me, but
Okay. No, I didn't know.
and personally,
That was a weird noise.
I just like Doncic's play style a lot better.
And it's not like Luka Doncic just like gave up after the first half of the year. Like it's not like Trey ran away with it and Luka stopped playing. He's like he's become like I think a worse scorer since after the All-Star break, but a better overall player.
Yeah.
Because since the All-Star break, he's been getting a lot of triple doubles. Not necessarily the highest efficiency shooting games, but still getting his points and getting assists and rebounds, which is something we haven't really seen from Trey. I think he had 1 triple double, and is doing well with assists. He's averaging 8 assists, 4 boards to 21, 6, and 8 by Luka. And I don't know if you could really say that's flirting with a triple double, but that kind of is.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So you think Doncic also wins Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, that's why I gave him a 1% chance to win.
Is there any chance it's neither of these players?
No.
Could you make an argument for someone like a DeAndre Ayton?
I think he could, but
You could make an argument. I don't think so, but I'm just saying.
he's definitely
anybody's-
overshadowed by 1, their horrible team, and 2, Devin Booker.
Yeah, horrible. There's the worst franchise in the freaking NBA. It's the Phoenix Suns.
And I mean, who are other rookies? Mitchell Robinson has played well.
Marvin
on defense.
Bagley's played solid. I mean, Kevin Knox has played okay. He was supposed to be like the big thing. I think he was supposed to be better than Doncic before the draft when the scouts were looking at him.
Yeah, and one thing about Luka, he's very skilled and just he's had more. Trae Young has had the bigger scoring games, maybe, where he had the streak of 40+. But I think we're going to see this when it gets down to the MVP conversation, too. And it's not always about how much do you score, but how much do you score and then assist and then rebound, which I think it's going to come down to with Giannis and Harden. And just real quick, just one word answer. What's your take on that? Who do you think would win?
Giannis has
Okay,
had
I
the biggest
agree with you.
has the biggest impact. When I look at MVP, I'm looking at who has the biggest impact. Like LeBron obviously deserved to win that last year because he took that awful Cleveland team to the freaking NBA Finals. That's a no-brainer. What I think the NBA, and if you're the NBA, I probably said this multiple times. I say this all the time. So there's no more debate. You already have a defensive player of the year.
Offensive
Why
player.
not have an offensive player of the year? Harden could win it every single year, averaging what? Is he still averaging around 35 points per game?
Yeah.
Put Harden in that. But the MVP is, it used to be Paul George. Paul George is also in the running. Those are your 3 right there. Paul George, the second best two-way player in the league, in my opinion, only behind Kawhi Leonard. Because Kawhi Leonard's a beast, and that shot's gotten so much better. But no, I still think it's Giannis. Do you think?
Yeah, I think it's
You think
Giannis.
it's Giannis? I think.
So we've done all of the What Are the Odds games, so I hope you enjoyed
Let's
that
talk
part of
about
the
playoff
show.
matchups.
Now we're gonna do a little bit of playoff matchups,
And then
for
we'll
you
sign
guys.
off. So, yeah.
So here's I think what we'll do. We'll read to you the potential matchups and the standings, and then from there we'll each pick one. We'll each say, okay. Let me start.
We'll each pick a matchup and discuss
then-
what we think.
Yeah. So here are the standings. In the West, Golden State at the 1, Denver at the tied for 1, but Golden State is a tiebreaker. Houston 3 games back, Portland 3.5, so half game back of Houston. Utah 5.5, Clippers 6, San Antonio 7.5, OKC at the 8 seed 7.5. Then I'll do the West and then we can pick
Talk
our
about the
favorite.
West. Okay, what matchup do you want? I'll let you go first. Pick any matchup you want.
Sign me up for 5, 6, 7 games of Golden State versus Oklahoma City.
Okay, I think what we're going to do here is we're going to make it interesting. So you're going to pick how many games and who the winner is, but you're also going to pick, I think, who's going to be the most influential. What's
factor?
the X factor in the series?
Okay, Golden State versus OKC is my series I'm picking. I'm picking Golden State in 6.
Okay,
My
fair.
X factor, I'm not going to be cliche and say my X factor is Kevin Durant. Because, I think Kevin Durant would have one of those finals-like series if he's playing against his former team in OKC. So my X factor, if Golden State wins, which I think they will, would be... This might be cliche because I'm saying a star. But
Steph Curry?
My X factor is Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson.
The
I
reason
dig
why-
that. That's actually what I was going to say.
Klay Thompson can play great defense on Westbrook, force him to take tough shots, force him to take bad shots. Westbrook can shoot a team out of the game just as easily as he can shoot a team in.
And Klay's like the best catch and shoot. Honestly, in my opinion, this is controversial. But I think Klay, the only thing I think he does better than Curry, besides defense, I think he's a better defender than Curry. I think he shoots better. I think
Yeah,
he's a more consistent shooter when we look at it. This is the same guy who scored 37 and a quarter, 60 points in under about 29 minutes. And the playoffs, he just goes off.
Yeah.
Like, except for that 1 year in the finals, but that was a little
I think
exception.
because of his defensive skills, that's one of the main reasons, because he can guard Westbrook, or he even can guard Paul George.
I'm putting KD on Paul George, though.
Right,
honestly.
yeah, obviously. but like I think he could.
I think he could potentially lock down
So
Westbrook.
I think that's why I'm giving Klay Thompson my X factor. So are you gonna pick a different series or the same series?
I think you said it perfectly. I want we've already, honestly, we don't have to do Portland and Utah because I think we've already talked about Portland and Utah. I think I want to take Houston and Clippers.
Right.
I have the Clippers losing in 6. I think Houston takes it. I think Clippers, the Clippers have honestly surprised me. I thought it was the dumbest trade ever to trade Tobias Harris to the Sixers, and you get actually nothing back. But honestly, I like the chemistry of the team. I think the team's good. I think they will take the Rockets to 6, but the Rockets have an overall better team.
So who's your X factor?
My X factor, I don't want to be cliche. Honestly, my X factor is going to be Clint Capella.
Right.
Clint Capella versus Montrezl Harrell is a matchup I'm looking forward to, but I think Clint Capella is slightly better at defense. He's not as good an offensive player, I think, as Montrezl Harrell, but he's a lot longer, and he's, I think, one of the league leaders in blocks.
Right.
So I think that makes a difference because he's going to play close to the basket, and he's gonna lock down not just Montrezl Harrell, but I think your forwards and even your guards. I don't think anyone's getting past him. And then the fact that you have on the perimeter Harden, who's been playing lights out, and you also have CP3, who's been playing pretty good since coming back from his injury.
Right.
I think Capella is your X factor. I think
right.
Houston wins in 6.
All right, I'm going to go a little off script here. I'm having fun doing this. So why don't we just pick every series? And then we'll both agree on an X factor.
Okay.
And on your sides. So other series, Denver versus San Antonio. So when it's set it up to be 2 versus 7, I'll pick my X factor first. Or I'll pick the series, then you pick the series, then you do X factor, I'll do X factor. So my series, Denver and 7. Your series?
Denver in 5.
Okay, and your X factor.
My X factor for Denver is Nikola Jokic.
Cliche.
I know it's cliche, but come on, he's one of the top 3 centers in the league. Can you deny that? He did make an All-Star team. I mean, he's just so good. He's so good offensively. He's such a great passer, and he even brings you a hefty load on the defense. So I think he's the. Do you call me cliche? I don't think. Who's your X factor?
My X factor is Paul Millsap. Because he used to be an all-star, and he's kind of been injured a lot, and just hasn't really gotten back to who
He's not as good, but he's
be.
not horrible. He's pretty
And Paul
good
Millsap, like, Nikola Jokic has no chance to contain a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge. Jokic isn't a great defender. He ranks one of the...
He's not horrible.
He's one of the lowest shot blockers for centers.
He's a more offensive-minded center, but he's just so...
That's an easy way of
He's
putting
just so good offensively that it's kind of like a James... I don't think he's as bad as James Harden at defense, but James Harden's kind of stepped up his defense this year.
And then the reason I put Paul Millsap is because he does have the playoff experience. That's one thing that he has over any of the Denver players. And he's a great defender. So he's someone that could make life difficult for LaMarcus Aldridge and could also play off a switch to guard a Derek White, Bryn Forbes, DeMar DeRozan, whoever you say.
He's a solid defender. I'll give you that.
And then he can also step out and shoot the 3. Maybe has a little bit more quickness than LaMarcus Aldridge. Get to the rim easier. Great passer, great rebounder. I don't know if you really say he's a triple-double threat every time he steps on the court.
He's going to get you...
But he's going to
influence. He's going to influence the pace of the game. He's also going to score you points and get you solid defense. So yeah, he's a solid starting forward, and I think you're right. I think he will play good.
All right, so on to the final series in the Western Conference: Portland versus Utah. You can do the series.
Utah in 4.
I'll also pick Utah in 4. My X factor for this series
Spud Mitchell
is not Nikola. You said Nurkic because he's not playing.
That's true. Also, CJ McCollum. I hope CJ McCollum.
Okay, so my X factor and realness will be Joe Ingles. I don't really know if this series needs an X factor, but Joe Ingles, he's a great shooter. He always steps it up in the playoffs. That's why I'm going with him. No need to overthink it.
No, you're right. I just personally think it's going to be Spud Mitchell, kind of like how he took over the series last year in OKC.
All right, now
sorry if I'm being cliche.
Now on to the East, we have Milwaukee at the 1, Toronto 3 games back, Philly 7.5, Boston 12, Indy 12, Detroit 17.5, Brooklyn 18. Miami 18.5.
And Orlando and Charlotte are still in contention as of now, not statistically eliminated. I don't think Charlotte makes it, but there's a possibility Orlando overtakes Miami.
So we'll start with the 1 versus 8, and then I'll do games, you do games, X factor, blah, blah, blah. Milwaukee versus Miami games.
Milwaukee in 5.
Milwaukee in 4.
Milwaukee in 4, okay.
My X factor for this series... I mean...
Is it anybody else?
I'll go Brook Lopez just because...
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's an interesting one.
He can step out if Hassan Whiteside is guarding him. Because he cancels Hassan... Cancels Hassan Whiteside. Cancels Hassan Whiteside out of the game, I think, forces Eric Spoelstra to start another center because Hassan doesn't step out and shoot the 3 and can't step out and guard the 3 really. So he kind of cancels him out of the game. And then Brook Lopez can shoot the 3. He's a solid defender, solid passer, solid rebounder, all that. So,
My X factor is.
and he's not cliche.
Oh, it's not cliche. I don't think mine's cliche either. I think y'all thought I was going to say
Yeah.
the best player, but it's not. I'm going to say Chris Middleton because when Chris Middleton takes over, that's GG. I'm sorry, especially against Miami. Like, come on, like freaking, who's going to guard him? James Johnson? Like, no. And he's a solid perimeter shooter, and he will bring you defense off. So I think he's a solid player. He complements Giannis really well. We saw that last year, even though they lost. We saw that he complements Giannis pretty well.
All right, so now on to the second series, which is Toronto versus Brooklyn. I'll go Toronto in 6.
I go Toronto in 5.
All right, your X factor.
My X factor will be Marc Gasol.
All
The
right.
Toronto Raptors, because there's your playoff experience. He's solid. He's a solid offensive and defense. I'm not going to call him all-star level on either, but it's still solid starting. I still think the trade for Valanciunas for Marc Gasol was stupid because Valanciunas is significantly younger and brings you some of the same skill set. But I think Marc Gasol will make a difference in this series, honestly. Kawhi, of course, could be your X factor. You're probably trying to stay away from cliches.
My X factor is Danny Green. Kind of just a little throw-in in the Kawhi trade, but he's been much more than a throw-in for them. He's been a great player. If he can defend D'Angelo Russell well, then this goes from a 6-game series to a 4-game series.
True.
Because he's really the little engine or D'Angelo Russell is the engine that really sparks the Nets offense. So if Green can play well on him and then shoot threes, which he's great at. He's a professional shooter and one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league.
We saw that in his years in San Antonio.
And then, like you said, the experience. Danny Green definitely
Plenty
is
of playoff
tested.
experience, yeah.
Definitely won a
I
couple
agree.
championships. So I would put him as the X factor just because he can defend and shoot. And yeah, so on to the next one. We'll do. Sorry, Philadelphia versus Detroit. You can start.
I have Philadelphia in 6.
I'd have Philadelphia in 5.
Okay.
My X factor is JJ Redick.
JJ Redick.
Why
Ooh.
is JJ Redick my X factor? Is
Why
that
not?
what you're asking?
Yes.
that is what you're
yes.
asking.
Why?
And I'm going to answer. JJ Redick is my X factor because he can shoot threes. Your turn.
Oh, well, that was simple, wasn't it? That was straight to the point. My X factor is Tobias Harris because, like, I love Tobias Harris, and he's been increasing his offensive proficiency and his defensive efficiency
One thing that
all year. So, like, I think
scares me about Tobias Harris though as an X factor. Is okay. So
what, lack of playoff experience.
No, but we're assuming that Joel Embiid guards Drummond. Can Tobias contain Blake Griffin?
Yes, I think Tobias contain
You do?
Blake Griffin.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Then to go a little bit more in depth, besides he can shoot well, which is JJ Redick's forte. He scores.
He's a great scorer.
Yeah.
He's perfect. I liked him better, honestly, in a bench role, but, like, there's nobody else I'd put at my starting shooting guard
Yeah,
than
and then
JJ Redick.
also if games come down to clutch moments, he's a great shooter.
Great shooter. He doesn't shy away from the big moments.
But that's
so I
more
appreciate
Jimmy
it.
Butler's thing this year for the
Yeah,
Sixers,
Jimmy
but
Butler's been a closer this year.
Either way. Alright, and now on to the final series, and then we'll wrap it up.
Alright.
Boston versus Indiana. I'll take Boston in 5.
I'd take Boston in 7.
And your X factor is?
My X factor is Jaylen Brown because I don't feel like Jaylen Brown's been getting nearly as much love this year as the last couple seasons. I think Jaylen Brown is really going to step it up because he in this system he thrives very well. He's shown in the playoffs he's a 20-point per game scorer, especially like last year when you had both your stars, Gordon Hayward and Kyrie, out. He really did step up, and I think he will. I think he will step it up in the playoffs.
Right. My X factor is Aaron Baines.
Okay.
Because Baines, if you put him into the starting role, I think he's a good player to guard Miles Turner, who's a great player. And then on the bench, you need one of those big men in there because Domantas Sabonis is a handful to guard. One of the more underrated players in the league, I think. Probably my leader for 6th man of the year. Just a great, crafty scorer. If you watched the Indiana-Oklahoma City game a couple of days ago, he was really going to town on Steven Adams, and that's not an easy man to move in the post. So that's why Aaron Baines is my X factor, because if they can contain the Pacers bench, which might not be great, but Domantas Sabonis is definitely the leader of it and one of their top 3 players, in my opinion, then they have a great chance to win. So I'd go Baines with that.
I just think that the loss of Victor Oladipo is huge for this team. If this team honestly had Victor Oladipo, I could see them because they took LeBron last year to 7. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Boston, but they don't. So that's one person we wish you had right now. So.
All right. So that'll be the ending for this video. I hope you all enjoyed.
Oh, I know they did.
Tune in for the next video, which will probably be sometime either next weekend or sometime in the next week.
Yeah. Also, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about us. We want to expand this channel as much as we can. We only have 45 subscribers-ish. We want more. Tell your friends. Post it on social media. Contact us. Just anything you can to spread the word if you really enjoy this channel.
Yep. So that will do it for the episode. We thank you all for watching. And just come back next time to watch the Paintmans.
All right. Signing off. Whoa.